Has it started recording?
Yeah, the call already. Recording.
Okay. All right, great. So, morning once again. So today I will talk about the T-core interface. I think maybe just for info for Xiaoping is that what y'all call the TPSS system is what we call the time edit timetabling system lah. Okay. So in the time edit timetabling system, there are a few what we call modules that we use in order to do the timetabling and to see some of the information that's on the timetabling system. So there are two, well, specifically today I'll just touch on two modules, which is the time edit core, CORE, all right, core. So that's the interface where the TT reps actually do scheduling, okay? Then another interface is maybe that will be something you are familiar is the TE viewer. That's where the staff logs in and then and the student as well, and they can see their timetable, all right, or their schedule. And then you can also there are also some reports that are pre-created so that the TT reps can refer them as well. So I will start the training by giving you a more generic end user perspective. And then after that, maybe later in the session or tomorrow, then I will touch on the administration part of things that you will tend to do during the fast work schedule. Like during fast work, right? During that schedule, at each phase, what the TT reps are doing, and then what you as an administrator will be also doing in order to assist them. Okay? So is that clear so far?
Yeah, clear.
Okay, so now let me share my screen. 1 second. Okay, maybe let me share my window instead. Okay, can you see my screen?
Yeah, can see.
So now you're looking at a screen where you can see this interface, right? With a lot of rows and lines, correct? Okay, so this is basically what we call the T-core system. Okay, so now generally speaking, the T-core system itself differs from client to client. So it doesn't mean that you learn what I'm telling you now. It doesn't mean that next time you go to another school and if they happen to use time edit system, everything will look exactly the same. No, it won't. So every school, in terms of the data type and what we call data type here, they are all going to be vastly different from one another. Okay, because time edit is a system that's extremely flexible, so it can be customized according to what the school requires. So in this case, now what you're looking at is the Temasek Poly test environment. Okay, we won't be using the production for training, but it's a replica of your live system. Okay, so just want to run you through a few things. So the top part of this area that you see, this is what we call a calendar, and this is also technically what you're going to see when timetabler starts to schedule their classes. Right now, of course, you don't see anything, like you only see this red thing. Now, just in case for your info, this red thing is basically just a marking to indicate the lunch hour for the timetabler lah. So they are aware that when they timetable, okay, when any lesson that falls within this red bar is actually their expected lunchtime, 11 to 2. You got it so far? Okay. Then on the below here, the lower part of the panel, okay, the bottom right-hand side is what we call a scheduling mode. So a scheduling mode is basically a different, what we call different panel, okay, a different work panel for the scheduler to choose so that they can schedule the kind of things that they want. So typically in Temasek Poly's case, what the timetable normally use is what we call a module scheduling mode. So this is basically the mode where they do their manual scheduling for all their classes. And then of course you see there is this thing called location blocking. Now when I click on location blocking, you can see that the type of data required changes. So location blocking is basically for the timetablers to then decide to, okay, say I want to block book this location, right, on a specific time. Like for example, let's say I want to book lecture theater 1 here, okay, and I want to book it on, let's say, 17 April from 2 to 4 o'clock. So they basically they just do this, right? They just pull and then drop. So that means this location right now has been already block booked on the 17th of April from 2 to 4, location 030330/1, right? So this is one reservation mode. Basically what they do is they just block book the location. That's it. No class, no nothing. Doesn't say anything about classes. So what I'm trying to tell you is that these different reservation modes, all right, basically allows the timetablers to schedule anything that they need in order for them to put it into the timetable itself. Okay. So location scheduling is one of them, staff blocking. So basically this is to block the staff. Just now the other one is for location. Then there's a class group blocking. So this was something requested by your timetablers. So I think the reason or the rationale behind it is to block book all the class group into a common slot so that they can keep that slot free for, say, an elective class. Like for example, all these class group needs to participate in an elective class, right? But they want to kind of block their time first so that when they schedule for other classes, all these slots are already taken up so that these class groups are not going to be affected. And then later on, they will schedule a common class for this entire lot of class group. I hope you understand what I'm trying to say. So it's trying to so-called do some pre-blocking of a common time slot for most of the objects. Then later on, then they find that, the common things that they need to schedule for all the class group to be placed into that same time slot. You follow so far? Okay.
It's a business process.
Sorry?
From the business process point of view, they need to block this one first, then later they will put in the detail one idea.
Exactly. Something along that line, yes. Because like, for example, right, most of the diploma students, they will all take their own subjects, correct? But they will eventually come to the point where they have to take up this thing called an elective module, right? But this elective module could be cross-discipline, could be cross-diploma. But in order to find a common time slot, they have to do it now, right? Rather than later. Otherwise, when you start to schedule all the other classes already, then they have to find a common time slot. Then they find that, wow, this group of students and this group of students all clash. So there's no common time slot for them to use. You understand? So the idea here is to then block all of them first. Like for example, if the timetable decided that on every Wednesday afternoon, I want to block all these so that I can keep them all free for the eventual scheduling of elective classes. Then I block all these first. Then later on, then I adjust the schedule on Wednesday afternoon. Okay. Next is manual student fitting. So manual student fitting, it's not technically a scheduling mode, but this is something we created so that the timetablers can then decide how to drop the students, how to manually allocate the students to the classes. Now, all these I'm telling you now is probably not something you will do because these are actually the job of the timetablers. But I guess it's important for you to understand because at some point, maybe when the timetablers encounter issues or problems, they may ask you. So that's why I'm telling you all this now so that you have a good overview of what the timetabler do and what are the potential questions they may ask you. Okay. So in this manual scheduling, manual student fitting mode, basically you can see that there are schedule, there are subject class, and there are other task times one. Okay, so this one, last one, you can just ignore. But main thing here is the first two, the student and the subject class. So what this does is that when you select a specific student, now typically when you select a student, all their schedule will show up. But I guess this is 15 April. I guess this is, we need to change this last semester. This is still based on the last semester or data. Okay. Yep. So now you can see the moment I select Muhammad Asil, his timetable will show up. This is his timetable. Okay. For week 116 October. This is last This is last year's one. Okay, so you can see all his timetable. So at this point in time, if then let's say I decided that Muhammad needs to take an additional class, okay, and I need to choose this class. Maybe let's say it's ABC 3010. So ABC 3010 is somewhere here. Can you see? Is it okay for you to see? I don't know. The screen might be maybe your laptop might be a bit small, so you cannot see properly. Can you see this? I've just chosen ABC 2023, and then it appear here. Now you notice that Muhammad has all this timetable here. So basically, if I try to slot him into ABC 3010, it's not possible because the system is showing me that Muhammad already has a CTX 1002 class here. Can you see? Okay. So the idea here is that if I want to slot him about ABC 3010, the system is already telling me you can't because he actually have a CTX 1002 at the same timing. You understand? So basically what this particular mode does is that it shows you, number one, what is the timetable of the student already, and number two, what is the timetable of the subject class that you're trying to put the student in. So it gives you a comparison and tells you whether is it possible to slot this student into the next class that you want to put him in this case, the ABC 3010. Now, of course, if you can't, then what the system is trying to show you here is that you either have to put him into another ABC 3010 lecture class, or you have to remove him from CTX 1002, then only you can put him into ABC 3010. So that's what it means by manual student fitting, because typically in the TPSS or fast work schedule process, we have a process called automated student fitting, where we will take the conditions that the timetablers have already set in order to slot the students into the classes that they are taking up. But sometimes, yes.
Yeah, maybe I just ask a question now. From the interface, this UI, it seems this overlap, but didn't alert me this is conflict. Whether there any so-called prompt say, hey, you cannot do that, something like that.
No, it doesn't, because you haven't moved the student into the class yet. When you try to move the student into class, then the conflict control will flag. Right now, this is just to show you the existing situation. You haven't moved the student into the class yet, so that's why it's not telling you there's a conflict.
Oh, okay.
If when you try to move the student to the class, then they will tell you that there's a possible conflict.
But from here, actually, you already can see they are conflict, right?
Yeah, but nothing has changed yet. What the system is just showing you that there is a potential conflict, right, for this student if you attempt to move him to ABC 3010. So the system is already telling you that you shouldn't move him to this class, or you should choose another class instead, because he is already occupied at that time.
Okay,
you have at this point, you haven't moved anything. You are just looking at it. It's a how do you say? It's a view only. It's a view only at this moment.
Oh, okay. It's not a real one. Means didn't do any changes.
Nothing has changed from at this point. This is only for you to view. When you want to change something, then you have to actually modify it. Then only something will happen. Right now, it's just looking at it only. You haven't done anything yet. Or rather, I haven't done anything yet. Okay. Okay.
I understand.
Yeah. So the point is that once you are aware of this, like for example, then the next course of action is I will want to take him out of CTX 1002 and then put him to ABC. This is where I then modify the object. Then I will have to do something here in order to remove this student from the conflict. But that one I'll come to it later because I just want to show you the different mode. But we haven't gone into the exact details of how we do all this. In fact, you don't need to know exactly how they do so as well, because this is something actually for the timetablers, not for you. You are not supposed to do this for them. Okay, but just to give you a basic understanding of how the system works. Okay. All right, so that's for the reservation mode. Okay, so next thing I want to talk about is the interface. So you will see that the top part is the calendar, The bottom right is actually the different scheduling, and then the bottom left is actually the data object selection. So as you can see, if I click on all these data objects, it will show me the list of data associated to those objects. For example, if I click on class group, I can see all the class group on the left. If I click on subject class, then I'm looking at subject class on the left. If I'm looking at modules, then I'm looking at all the modules on the left. Okay, so the left side is actually displaying all the data records of the data object on the bottom right. That's so far. Okay, now next I talk about the view panel. So you can see that on left side there is a row of icons. So let's go through one by one what this means. So on the very top left is what we call views. All right, so you notice that these are the different views, and when you click on the views itself, you see that the calendaring actually changes. Can you see? Everything that I click, it changes to something else. Okay, so these are what we call the views, and maybe in the timetablers perspective, they call this their workspace. Okay, it's like how you set up your, I don't know, your Microsoft Word or your PowerPoint or whatever, you know, like you customize your toolbar, your taskbar, with only the buttons that you want to use very commonly. So this is something along that line. Okay, so you set up into a calendaring view that you are normally trying to schedule for. Okay, so all these are the views. I will go into details on how to set this up because this is something the TPSS admin needs to do. Okay. Now you see that there's also a line here. Can you see the line? So anything above the line is called a public view. Anything below the line is called a private view. So what does that mean? Anything above the line, when any of the TT reps log into the system, right, they will be able to see all this because this is something that is public. That means once you created this view and you make it public, it is available for everyone accessing the system. But there are certain views that you want that is unique to yourself. Like let's say, for example, maybe now you are a scheduler for business school. So you may do something that is very business school centric, right? And then you have set it up such that it's meant to be a workspace or workspace for business timetabler. Then you can save it, and then it will become one of the. So let me just give you an example. Let's say I make some changes here, like I do this. Okay, then I want to save view as. Okay, I want to save this as admin example. So when I do this and I click yes, you can see that I have saved a view called admin below. So I've actually saved a view that is private. So this is my own view. When I click on it, it will come to this specific stage that I have adjusted the calendaring for, right? The moment I made it public, okay, I hold it here, I make it public, and you can see it moves up, right? So now anybody who logs into the system can use my view, yeah? Okay, so that's exactly what this means, the viewing.
Okay, so the viewer only can see is the calendar, means which time slot actually is you already scheduled, then it's blocked or whatever, or reserved the event. This doesn't mean the views.
Sorry, can you repeat that last statement?
Can you explain a bit more of the views meaning? Means when the public log in, right? They can see these views. So what the views tell them, is the user actually logging? When they see the view, they know, oh, what the day under the time slot actually is used or blocked by some so-called class or whatever. Is this the main so-called the purpose of this view?
No, the main purpose of this view is to set the calendaring into a manner which the timetabler wants to work their schedule. Okay, I'll give you an example. Let's say we look at the April 2024 semester mode. Okay, so when I click on this, so what is this mode? This mode actually refers to the fact that this particular view shows you all 26 weeks starting from 15 April to 13 October 2024. So this is the view where when they click on it, okay, it shows you week 1 to week 26. So you can see week 1 all the way until week 26. Can you see on the very top? So this is to tell you that when they click on this specific view, they are looking at all 26 weeks of the calendaring. And at this point in time, they cannot move out of this calendaring because the system itself, right, it has an infinite calendaring function. You can go very back in time, you can go very far in time also. You can go 2050, 2060, 2070 into the future. So the calendaring can go on and on and on. But of course, you don't want that, right? So because you're only going to be scheduling for the current semester, so you have to set up your view to lock within the start and end date of that semester only. So that way, the timetablers, right, will not schedule outside their semester. Follow?
Okay,
so
so this is
that's the whole
plan
point
is
of
the
this
next.
view.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry?
So is the something actually tell the public user know this view actually from this week from which week to which period of time actually is scheduled already lah, means is blocked for some purpose already lah, but didn't tell which detailed information right here from here, right?
No, there's no detailed information because this view, right, is not the final timetabling view. It's a workspace view, meaning we are setting up the workspace for the timetabler to do their scheduling. Like if I'm going to schedule for April 2024 semester, of course, I only want to look at April 2024 calendar only, right? I don't want to see October calendaring and all, because no point. That's not what I'm trying to do. I'm only trying to schedule for April semester. That's why I'm only showing all the weeks in the April semester. So you set up the workspace for them like this, so the timetabler can never go wrong. They cannot accidentally schedule outside of that semester. You understand now? It doesn't mean that this is a view for them to see their schedule. Okay, it's not.
So, okay. Maybe let me correct me if my understanding is correct. So this is a part of the work of the admin that set these views. Then these views were used by the timetabling when them to choose. Is it? Is the purpose?
Yes. Because some of the timetable, as you can look at some of the views, right? We have things like week 1 to 7. So when you click on this one, now you will see the calendar locks you only to 7 weeks. Can you see?
Yeah.
Okay. So that's the whole idea. Yeah, because sometimes they will plan for subjects that only occur in the first half of the semester. So then they will schedule using this view. There's no way they can schedule to week 8, week 9, week 11, because those are already locked out. You cannot see them. So you cannot schedule those dates.
Okay, my question is that whether for different schools they have different views. For example, the same week 1 to 7, or for example the school IIT, they have a view is week from 1 to 7. Then the others, for example, design school, they have another view for week 1 to 8 something. So they are totally different. Is this is a usual case? Means it all depends on the schools.
Yes, this all depends on the school. So when Edit took on the TPSS admin function for TP, normally I will tell the school that we will try and streamline and try and have common views. Because if every school wants to have their own view, it will create many views. So you will see many views. And because it's public, then you see a super long list, right? And it can be very confusing, complicated. That's why we try and streamline it. So you as an admin in future, you need to work with the timetablers. What is the best way to overcome this problem? Because all the schools will want their own calendaring weeks. I say they will tell, hey, I want week 1 to 7. Then another school say, hey, don't want. I need week 1 to 8 only. You know what I mean? So when all these kind of requests come, and once we teach you how to then set up this view, then you can either help them do it, or you can discuss with them how to streamline the process. Because otherwise you end up having a lot of views.
Yes, correct. Yeah, this is actually
But
one
that's
of
not
my
for me to
points
tell
that I
you
want
already.
to
That's for
understand.
you to decide already.
Okay,
Okay.
understand. Yeah. Thanks. Yeah, good.
Because you're right, lah. Every school have their own preference, ma. And
Yeah.
to be fair, this is actually something they can do on their own, but they don't want. They want this. They want the admin people to do. So no choice, lah. That's why we are doing this.
Okay, so
Okay.
means so means this function only the admin have the permission to do it. They, all the rest of the schools they don't have permission or they don't want to do. Which one is if the
No,
current
the admin can do private views. Okay. For the timetablers, they cannot do public views. They can only do private views.
Oh, I see.
That means they can do views for themselves, but they cannot share with others. Right?
Okay, even within the same school, they also cannot share. It's only his personally is the private one.
Yeah. As a user of the system, whatever views you change are all going to be private. When they save, it's all going to be in private. It will all be below this line and it cannot be seen by others. Right?
Okay.
Only the admin can make a view public.
Well, so this public means the whole TP lah, means across all the schools, right?
Yeah, correct. So all the
Okay.
schools have the ability to create their own private view, right? So they can have their own workspace creation. They can do it themselves. This is not required to be done by an admin. Every
Okay.
user is able to create their own view.
Okay.
But whether they want to do so or they know how to do, that one is up to individuality. We have taught them before, but maybe they think it's too difficult, too complicated, so they don't want.
Okay. Oh, so this is the current practice lah.
Yes, this is the current practice, exactly.
Okay.
So we will tell you how we set up some of these views. And of course, that will serve as a template for you when you set them up for the next semester. Now, obviously, we have already done for the upcoming October 2024 one. So the next time you will actually be doing a hands-on to actually set this up is for your April 2025 semester already.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
So generally speaking, you can see for that, let's just focus on all the April 2024 one. So you can see in general, we actually do up a few of these views. So first one is the semester mode, which is the full semester weeks. So week 1 to week 26, or in some cases week 27, right? Then we also created one called week 1 view. So why do we create a week 1 view? Because if you realize by now, the TP timetable is same recurring week in, week out. So week 1 is the same for week 2, week 3, week 4, and so on and so forth. You know, right?
I don't know.
Okay, actually,
the domain knowledge actually I don't have.
okay, never mind. Then I'll tell you. So in most polytechnics in Singapore, and of course in the case of TP, they try and keep the same timetable week in, week out. So there isn't a odd even week kind of rotation. Some schools or foreign university will do this, but in polytechnics, no. So here they have a week in, week 1, week 2, week 3, all recurring, same, exact same. So that's why when they want to see the calendar for a specific staff or student or whatever or class, they will click on week 1 view. So when they see a week 1 view, they will be essentially seeing the schedule for the specific person on a weekly basis throughout the entire semester. Okay. So we set this up for them so they can have an easier way to view things. We have this thing called term 1. So this is like what you say, the school's preference. Like, oh, I only schedule week 1 to 7 for some of these classes, or I only schedule week 1 to week 8 for some of these classes. So we set this up like, according to their request. They call it term 1, term 2, or term A, term B, depending on which school is asking you to do what. Okay. And then like you say, then we have this thing called recurring week. So what does recurring week does? So now you can see there's 2 different calendar now. Can you see? 2 different calendar now. So what a recurring week does is that we actually split the calendar into 2 separate calendar. The top one is actually the recurring weeks, where when we select on the bottom right, the week selection. Like in this case, I've selected week 1 to week 7, week 11 to week 17. You can see here, 01 to 7, 11 to 17. So what does this mean? So the moment I select something, like let's say I do this, okay, I select a class, for example, and okay, so when I do, let's say I decided I want to schedule this on a Tuesday, on every Tuesday for week 1 to 7, 11 to 17. I've selected what I want to schedule for, and then I choose a Tuesday, right, 2 to, let's say, 4 o'clock. So when I do this, I'm actually scheduling for this class on week 1 to 7 and week 11 to 17. Now you can't see this here because this was here. So now you can see it. Can you see now? Week 1 to week 7, week 11 to 17. These are all this specific class here. I made one reservation, but it appears in all the weeks that I've selected previously. Can you see? Week 1 to 7, 11 to 17. So this is what it means to do a recurring. So as you can see, this is another form of workspace. So obviously when a timetabler work, they don't just do one by one, right? Otherwise it's very tedious. So they have this recurring week patterns that they use to schedule multiple classes all at the same time, because they are essentially the same thing. Like I told you, because TP run the class every week the same, so it just makes sense to do this type of scheduling, right? So now let's say, so when you go back to the first calendar, you can see, okay, week 1, 7, okay, I book all this. Now I decided I don't want to, I made a mistake. So when I cancel this, all the reservation is gone as well. Okay. So this specific mode is basically when you set it up so that you can let the timetabler schedule multiple classes at a single go, right? Instead of scheduling 14 times for all these classes, or 15 times for all these classes, I only schedule one time because of this recurring week pattern. So we will also teach you how to set this view up. I'm just telling you these are the different views. Okay. So you get the gist of it. Why we set this up? So it's to help the timetabler schedule their classes better. Okay.
Okay, so these views, when you create the view, for example, in this list, so there are some so-called, you can see the period is overlapping, so it doesn't matter yet. For example, all the, you can see the week 1 to 26, week 1 to 26, there's a duplicate rows have the same period. Doesn't matter, is it?
What do you mean by duplicate rows have the same period? They are, you mean because you are looking at the recurring calendar, is it? Like this one?
Where? I think at the below one, there's an October 2023 order TA checking under the below one is a recurring week. They are both is the week from 1 to 26. Yeah, these two rows are. So this the period actually, the period actually is the same, but they are doing different things, is it?
You mean?
Yeah, these two.
So for example, this one and this one. You're talking about these two
maybe different. Okay, you go to the, I think almost the October 2023. Yes, the week 1 to 26. These two rows are, I think that's a 3 lah. Week 23. So what are the difference
between this and which one?
And above. This 3 lah.
This one? This is not. This is different. This is
Yeah. So my question is that among these 3, right, they are with the same so-called period is from week 1 to 26.
Yes.
So my question is that the period is the same, but they are doing different things. Is it?
Yes.
So the between the views, the period overlapping is not an issue lah.
No, because the period is just for you to set the date range. So essentially, when you look at it from a T-core perspective, The database are common throughout all the views. The views is just like a window into the same database. You are looking through a different window. So this window is round, that window is square. But essentially, looking out the window, you are still seeing the same thing. You understand? It's just that through the different window views, you manipulate different type of data only, or you look at different type of data only. So these views, they may have the same period, but they are doing different things. Exactly what you just said.
Okay.
They
Maybe
all serve a very specific function.
Okay. Can I maybe rephrase my question idea? So when we define these views here, then we public to all the timetable they will come in. So they will based on their needs, they choose the views. Is it correct?
Yes.
Because there are different views, they are for different purpose.
Yes.
So they will choose the different views. So this is another purpose of the view. Let
Correct.
them have the option to do then the name of the views actually clearly specify what does it see for the purpose of that. This is one of the purpose, right?
Correct. So the when we set up this view is not because we just do it because we want. We do it because this is what the TTR is requesting for us. These views are what they need to set their timetabling. Okay.
So means we will collect such so-called requirement from the school website. They will ask, oh, I want this, and that, something like this. Yeah?
Yes, but normally, as you can see, since we have already done this before, back in October 2023, we are kind of following the same exact format. So typically when you set it up for the new semester, you will have an activity manager, you have orders, TA check, you have recurring weeks, you have SEM week 1, you have semester mode, full semester, you have a term 1, term 2, term A, term B.
I understand. Okay, so each semester actually almost the same. Maybe there are some so-called changes there. Something like that.
Yeah, of course, for sure, when you redo the weeks and the date range, all these must change, because you have to reflect the latest semester already, All these weeks, this week 1 to week 18 and the previous semester week 1 to 26, they are not the same weeks per se. These are weeks of the semester itself. So week 1 of April 2024 semester, here is week 1 of October 2023 semester. So they are different. And again, this week is also something the admin must set up. Okay. Because by default, time edit cannot recognize that 8th of January is actually week 13 of your semester. Time edit is actually going by calendaring weeks one. So in order to set up this kind of special, what we call special week naming, you as an admin, you have to set this up. Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
So let me just, so these are the views. So I want you to understand this. Before I will go through the whole thing first, so you get a basic understanding before I will touch on how then you can modify all this. Okay. Next is the settings. Okay. Calendaring. Let's choose an easy one. Okay. So now we go to settings. So what does settings means? Settings actually to adjust the calendaring itself. So you can see that this is for calendar 1, which is denoted by the 1 here. Can you see? Okay. So these are all the attributes that you can modify this calendaring for. So then how then do we decide which are the 26 weeks? So you must first know, right? Week 1, day 1 is which day? So in this case, for your previous semester, that's what the very first day falls on a 15 April Monday. So that's why we set it up like calendar start date 15th of April. And then end of 26 weeks, the final day falls on a Sunday, which is a 13th October 2024. So that's how we put the calendar end date. Then normally you also,
this period start end, is it the whole semester?
Yes, this is the whole semester. The entire semester from the first day until the last day of it. So it will include all the term break and whatnot.
Okay, so this one, the settings, that the name is called calendar 1, is it?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. Let me just go through this attributes. Header. So why? Header time. Starting time and end time. Okay.
You just need to remember the settings that we have done now. That you don't really need to go and change all these additional stuff because that is just going to be very confusing for you. You just need to know that in calendaring, the main thing you need to adjust is the start and end date and the start and end time if required. So what does 808 to 2200 means? You can see on the vertical column here, the timing. This is starting from 8 o'clock until 2200, until 10 o'clock in the night.
Yeah,
Okay.
you
can actually restrict this. You can actually restrict this. Like if I say, hey, all my classes will end by 6 o'clock. Okay. So at the moment you do that, now you see that my calendar cannot move down anymore. Start at 6 o'clock already. Understand now?
Oh, I see. So this is the system level setting. Once you set this so-called timing is from and to, you mean the start and the end. Then when you do the timetabling, you are not able to book the time actually beyond this area, right?
Yes, correct. Because you are setting the boundary for
Oh,
which
it's a
the
boundary
timetable
setting lah. Okay, I understand.
schedule.
Yes, the boundary setting. Yes.
Okay.
Okay. Okay.
Right. So even visible days you can set. Like now you can see the week is only until Monday or Friday. Okay. By default, you can actually do all the way until Sunday. But normally, you don't have classes on Saturday, Sunday, right? So we normally keep this to Monday, Friday. And this is where you can also set the number of visible days, right? How many days you want the calendar to show you only. In this case, right now, it's meant for 20 days. So that's why you can see it's 5, 5, 5, 5, 20 exactly. So you can even decide how many days to see, because this is the default view. After the default view is set up, if they want to change things, like they want to see the whole week, they can adjust the thing. But by default, if I always go back to the calendaring mode, can you see it always default back to 20 days, and then 8 to 2200. This is the default settings, right? Based on all this. But if I'm the user, once I go in, if I want to change some things, I can still do so. But it is not a default setting. So anytime I make some change, I want to go back, I just click on it again, then it jumps back again. So nothing, they cannot so-called destroy the view, so to speak.
Okay, so just now you need to click one of the view, then click the setting. Does this mean the setting actually apply to this view only? Is it?
Yes, correct. Every setting only applies to the view that you are currently looking at. So in fact, not just the view, even the calendar are also different. So for example, let's say just now we look at the recurring week. You can see that now in this setting, I have calendar 1 and I have calendar 2. And if I scroll down on this side, when I click on calendar 2, can you see the setting changed to calendar 2? Can you see or not?
I think, yeah. I think
so every calendar, when you go to setting, only refers to it by itself only. But at least it does tell you which one is the calendar. Actually, you can, you can. It actually tells you bottom one is the calendar 2, then the top one is calendar 1. Yeah.
Yeah, that's why I have a bit confusing about why the title is calendar 1 and calendar 2. It's not possible the system should claim one actually tied to the views. Actually, you just click. Means link them two together. Otherwise, you will confuse.
No. Every calendar has its own setting. Okay. So if you change for calendar 1, doesn't mean that calendar 2 changes. You have to then change calendar 2 as well.
I know. So this calendar 2 actually linked to which view? Are you able to see from here?
No, calendar 2 was from the recurring weeks. Because just now I click recurring weeks, I click on this fund first, then I move to setting.
Okay, so can you
anytime before you move to setting, you should be on a current view that you want to change the setting for. Then only you go to the second icon, right? Like if I click on semester mode, I know I'm on semester mode. Then I click on see setting. This calendar one refers to this calendar in the settings.
Okay, I understand.
You cannot just suddenly go to setting without knowing which view you're from, and then you try and make changes. That is definitely gonna change things, and then make things difficult. So you have to choose the mode, and clearly which are the mode that you want to go for. Then you go to the settings, because from here whatever you change will affect this calendar.
Understand. Okay.
Yeah, but even so, after making all these changes, doesn't mean it's by default safe. After making these changes, you must make sure you actually save view. If you don't save the view, it doesn't get the changes doesn't get replicated. So there are a few things that you need to be very careful of, because sometimes you say, hey, how can I change it? But it doesn't save. It's because you never click save view. And also when you save view, also must careful. No, you go and click something else, and then you go and save overwrite it. You will also destroy that previous view. That's why when it comes to administration, these are areas where you need to be very careful.
Okay. So actually, under views, all these settings, all these icons, the left panel, actually all belong to under the view. When you choose that view, then you click the left. There's a one icon, actually all under this view. Is it? Okay. Can you click the below the setting? What is this about? Below the setting, this one. Or it's a draft. So
no,
means
we haven't gone to that first. Why you confuse yourself? I'm only talking about this and this now. I'm not talking about all this yet.
Okay. You
don't jump first, otherwise you confuse yourself. We talk about these two only. I don't talk about the rest first. Okay, so you're clear on this point?
Okay.
Okay, draft is something for the timetablers to use. So this is not something you need to do any setup. Okay. So this one you can just ignore. Account setting is basically the account of that specific person. So in this case, this is me. And then of course everybody will have their own. So this is also not something you need to do anything about.
So this account only can choose one person, is it? I mean.
No. This account is to show you who is logged in. In this case, the person that you are right now. You cannot see other people one. Okay, you cannot see other. It's your own account.
Okay.
And then I is just reservation information. If there's a reservation, you click on, you can see more details from here. What is the reservations about? Okay, like for example, just now earlier we chose a student, and we can see all the modules that the student has taken, which modules has been fitted for, and members of which classes that he's been set up for. So here is for you to see more info. But again, this is something the timetabler use, nothing to do with administration. Okay. Pinboard, no, this is also not something you use. Help. And this is for administration. So this one I will talk about later on. This is where you actually do setup for the special weeks. Okay, when you click on this one, you can actually do custom week name. So this is where we set up, right? Show weeks from which day to which day, and then you know that this weeks is actually which semester week, and then you name them accordingly. This is something I will go through you later, but this is just to show you where we set this up, right, for the calendaring. Okay. So I guess you kind of understood all this. The main part is setting up the views as the administration. This is one of the areas that you have to help them do the setup for. Okay. Okay. Next, I move on to the actual scheduling, give you an idea. So normally the timetablers will then select module scheduling mode to do their scheduling. So there are a few data objects that they have to pre-fill in order to do a scheduling. So first thing first is the class group, the subject class, class type, modules, and a staff. Wait, do you so since you said you don't have any domain knowledge, I presume you don't understand what is a class group, right?
Yeah. Don't understand. What is the
Okay.
mean?
So what is a class group? So let's look at the object of a class group. So basically, a class group in Temasek Poly refers to a generic group of students that are taking some common subjects. So let's say a class group B0C 21 year 3 SEM 2 B3 B01/1 is basically a group that is from business because of the alphabet B. B is for business, right? And this particular group, they are actually year 3 students in their second semester. So you can tell from their naming convention, right? B3 B01 refers to their care group.
Okay.
I assume you know what is a care group in Temasek
I
Poly.
know. Yeah, this one I know.
So this is how you know that this is the naming convention. This is something we agree with the timetabler, so that from one look you know this class group belong to which school one, which year, which semester, and which care group. So you can zoom in very quickly. So when you talk to the timetablers, the TTR, when you give them this data, they will know, oh, okay, this particular class, okay, I know already. So you can zoom in very quickly by looking at this convention. Now, why is there a 1 behind? So the 1 is what we call a pilot set number. So sometimes even within this same particular class group, there can be permutations of a different subject combination. What do we mean? Maybe the first 5 modules are exactly identical, but the last module, because it could be an elective or a legal subjects, they may change this, right? So the last subject could be something different. So then even though within the same care group, the common modules are the same, but there may be 1 or 2 modules among the students that will be slightly different. So as a result of that, they will create another different class group with a different pilot set number. So maybe you will see that there's B0C 21 year 3 SEM 2 B3 B01/1. There could be a possibility where there is also a B0C 21 year 3 SEM 2 B3 B01/2. So there is a different class group still, but essentially under the same care group. You follow so far? Okay, so I'm just saying potentially, not necessarily all the time. Doesn't mean that if a class group has a 1 means there will always be a 2. May not necessarily be. But we created this convention so that we give the timetabler the flexibility of creating a class group that allows them to have slight variation. Okay, slight variation. Yeah. So in this in a class group, we basically set up is that they will have these common modules or modules that they'll be taking. And of all these modules, there will also be a subject class associated to this class group. Why do we do this? So in time edit system, in order for the system to recognize that there is a clash, you need a data object that can serve as a conflict object. Okay, so what is a conflict object? A conflict object is it's an object to tell the system, like a staff or a student or a classroom, when a specific object like this are used in the reservation or used in a timetable. Let's say if I put you as a person, let's say you are teaching a class, right? I put Xiaoping in a class on a Monday 9 to 11. So if I try and schedule you again on the same time slot on the same Monday, the system will detect a clash because you are a conflict object. I cannot put you in the same place at the same time at 2 different places at the same time. You follow?
Okay.
So you are a conflict object. So in this case, what we do is we use class group as a conflict object. So a class group that has all these classes, right, will serve as a conflict object. When I schedule a class group like this, the next time I schedule a class that belongs to this class group, it will also show up as a conflict because I can't possibly be scheduling for the class group and the class in question when they share a common conflict, right? You understand this point so far? Yeah. So class group serve as a conflict object. So if I have a class group, look, now I'll give you an example. So if I have this class group, for example, if I click on this, let's look at October semester. So when I select this class, you can see that there are all these conflicts showing up. Now, the time edit system is a very interesting object. If I do not choose anything, you can see there is a blank timetable. So what does that mean? It will only populate objects that you have selected in order to tell you where are all the potential conflicts. In time edit, all white spaces are good spaces, meaning white spaces means you can schedule. Anything that's being blocked out means you cannot. So when I choose this class group, B0C21, B3B01, I can see that all these areas are already occupied by the potential object that I'm trying to schedule, which is this class group. So I can only schedule all these white spaces if I intend to schedule this class group again. But I cannot schedule over this already because they already are scheduled. Can see?
So it means all this block is square here actually in the green one actually is all scheduled like it's blocked already, right?
Yeah, it has it basically telling you that there is a conflict with this class group. All right, so you cannot choose any of these blocks anymore, only the white space. Okay, but that's not all because you have only selected one object. Now I decided that okay, I want to schedule this class group, but then I want to schedule for some of these class. So there's some of these class, right? So I choose maybe this one, GBS 2000. So when I click on it, you can see that now there are more things already. Right, there are more objects. It's also to tell you that, oh, when you want to schedule for this class again with this class group, these are all the potential area you can schedule, but not on Tuesday already. Can you see? If I remove this, this everything okay. I can still schedule Monday if I'm going. I can still schedule Tuesday morning for BOC. But the moment I choose the GBS, right, the GBS 201 class, you can see that now I cannot select all these areas already. Why?
Okay.
Because there are certain rules.
Where? Maybe just a question. So from this so-called the calendar one view now. So which one you see is very quickly help you identify which is a conflict? Is it based on the color or the squares that have overlapping or what?
No, it's basically the square. I already told you already. White space are good space. Anything that is being blocked means you cannot schedule anymore.
I know this is a so means you just try to see which are the white space the areas means these are available one for you to call the schedule. Yeah, schedule. So you just want to focus on the white space, is it?
Yeah, that's what the timetable needs to do because they want to schedule for things, right? So they need to look at the timetable, they need to look at the calendar to know where are the free space that they can actually schedule the class. So as they choose more and more data objects, then the system will tell you where are all the potential area of conflict before they can schedule the class.
Okay, so just know how many rows you select at the means how many class one you select. It's not only one, right? You just select one or what?
Yeah, only one.
Only one.
GBS 200.
Okay, means at the right bottom, this panel actually you just select subject class. Then at the bottom left one, you choose the one row only, is it?
Yes, I only choose one, which is GBS 2000.
Okay, so at above the calendar one, so because it's too small, cannot see clearly. Are they the same? Means all these scheduled time. Are they the same? 89. What's the first subject class? Okay, maybe I ask the question because I'm not so familiar. At the bottom, there's two square, right? Two panel, right? So the left one, the first column is a long string. Is this one the subject class name?
Yes.
Okay, so just now the highlight one, is the GPS 2000.
When you choose an object here, as I said earlier, when you choose a data object here, the data records, corresponding data records will show up on the left side.
Yes.
So when I'm highlighting subject class, then these are all subject classes.
Okay, so
when
as
I'm
a
highlighting class group, all these are class group.
Yes, correct. Yeah, please understand. So I just try to understand that because you only select one row as the so-called subject class, means at the bottom left panel, you say you highlight one, you just select one row. Then on the top, the calendar, there's so many square actually seems is scheduled. Is it? I just try to understand.
So when you select the GBS 2000, you can see that there are more things that appear on the timetable, correct? That is because GBS 2000 has its own schedule or area of conflict. So when the system is trying to tell you, if you choose a combination of BOC, B3, BO1, and GBS 2000, these are all the areas of conflict that is going to happen. And you can only schedule in, again, the white spaces only and nowhere else.
Okay.
It's as simple as that. Nothing difficult to understand. So the more objects you choose, the more blocks that you will see coming up. Because the combination of those objects will create all those conflicts.
Okay.
Yeah, so like, for example, if I were to choose a staff, it's going to add more complexity because the staff will have its own schedule. Can you see? The moment I select Adele, you see that all the space now become even more cluttered and only leaving me with Wednesday morning because Adele has all the reservation in all these other areas already. And only leaves me with the space to schedule this combination on a Wednesday morning. If I take away Adele, then you can see there are more spaces because we don't take into account Adele's schedule. I may have to choose a different staff, for example. Let's say Aaron. Aaron gives me more option. I can have Monday morning, I can have Thursday afternoon, I can have Friday afternoon.
Okay. Okay. Maybe okay. Because this one too small, I can't see. Okay. Oh, at the calendar for each square actually schedule there's what the information. I think there's a staff name here, right? Or have a staff name. Aaron.
You can mouse over and then you can see the details. So for example, on Monday 1 to 3 o'clock, it is because the conflict is caused by Aaron. Aaron is already in another class.
Yeah, means just now you select this stuff lah. So that's why I choose all this class actually belong to this stuff, right?
Yeah.
Okay. I just try to understand it because okay, maybe I just ask a question now. So you just show me you use the test environment, right? I saw the SGTP test. Okay, this is the test environment. Is it possible you give me access permission? Let me take a view.
Yeah, that one is not a problem. We can do that.
Yeah, so let me log in, then I navigate here and there, then give a few to maybe some information because you demo me, you click here and there, you're very fast, so I'm not able to absorb all those details information. So maybe you grant me the permission, then I can go in, then navigate, then I can check maybe more, I think slowly, then can understand something more.
1 second. Let me see. Let me see how I can. Wait, I see if I can give you access or not.
Okay, never mind. Maybe you can after the class, then you grant me. Then afternoon, then I have time. Then I can go in to navigate. Then tomorrow also can. Then let me familiarize all these features, the information. Then yeah. I understand better.
No problem. I can do it now very quickly. Let me see. This is for the Temasek Poly test. Okay, wait, you give me a second. Need to give you a administration account. Okay, I tell you what, we take a quick 10 minutes break so I can set this up for you, and then you can go have a drink or something, and then we come back. We come back at 10:20.
Okay, Wee-Ling, would you like to have the account also?
Okay.
Yeah, so Emma, maybe you add me and Wee-Ling together lah. The test environment lah. Okay, thank you. So we take 10 minutes break lah.
Let's come back at 10:20.
Okay, yeah, okay, see you, yeah.
Okay. Xiaoping and Willing, are you back?
I'm here, admin.
Okay. Yes. How about Xiaoping?
Yeah, hello, Edmund.
Okay. All right. Let me continue. I have triggered email reset for the account to
Yeah.
the TP test
Yeah.
environment. So just do that, and then maybe you can then try and log in, and maybe you can also follow what I'm trying to do on screen if it helps you get that understanding better. Okay, let me go back to my screen sharing again. All right, so back on the module scheduling. So I think you understood the combination of the data object selection here will then construct the clash control that you can see on the screen. So as I mentioned again, white spaces are all the good space. I just take this chance to also maybe explain a little bit more about what these data objects are. So because you said you have no domain knowledge, right? So I will just brief you based on what I do understand of what TP does. So you understand the concept of class group. Next is subject class. So subject class is basically, as the name suggests, just the class. Okay, it's just a class. So normally the class naming convention will be the module code ABC3010 in this case, followed by the semester ID. Right? So your semester ID is quite standard one. Normally it's the year followed by either 10 or 04. 10 being October, 04 being the April semester. And then for some bizarre reason, it's always NL01. Don't ask me why. You gotta ask ITS. Right. Then followed by LA. LA is basically the short name for the class code. So this is something the school came out with. So I also do not know what it means. But they will have because I believe your downstream system requires something of a code. Like for example, subject class LA01, for example. So that's how your downstream recognizes that this is for central kitchen operations, right? And it's a lecture. So that's how they did. I don't know if it's a lecture. It's a lecture. Yeah, it's a lecture.
LA01, subject class IF. Do you know what IF stands for?
Interface.
Oh, interface. Okay.
This is a field we created just for your downstream system because they need the data like this in order to read and understand it. It wasn't something we created out of timetablers. Timetablers also don't really need this, but they need to input this data so the downstream can recognize. So we have to create this field. Okay, so that's how it is. So L refers to lecture because L here. T will be tutorial, right? Delivery mode basically is to let, or rather the scheduler should know, but it's to let anybody know that this is a HBL, meaning this is a home-based learning.
It's online one.
Yeah. So we have face-to-face, e-lecture, e-learning. These are the things that they created, right? It's more for additional information. Okay. Yeah, and then these are the information, so on and so forth. So that's for subject class. Subject class type is basically the class type that it is, right? So since this is a lecture, then they have to select that this is a lecture. And then of course the modules, what these modules are. Yeah. Maybe let's have a look at what the module entails. So the module is basically just to talk about the module code itself. So this information is being sent in through your upstream system where the information gets sent to the SFTP servers, and then we pull this and we directly import this into TE core, right?
Okay.
And the TT reps need this information because they need, then when they submit their data for the class group and subject class, it must link back to the module. Later, I'll talk a bit about the relationships, what it means to have relationships and membership. But for now, this is just for your basic understanding.
Okay.
Staff is self-explanatory lah. Your teaching staff, your adjunct, and all that. Location suitability. So location suitability is something that the TT reps will set up lah. So, for example, if they were to choose HSS ECDE classroom, they would have made the association that all these classrooms are part of HSS ECDE classroom. So what does that mean? So when they have this availability selected, when they next choose location here, only locations that are under this suitability will appear. So for example, if I choose this, the next location, when I click on related, okay, let me clear this. You will see that only the related locations, which is in this case 11 locations associated to this suitability, will appear. You follow? Because if you don't choose the location suitability and the system does not know, it will show you the whole list of location, which is 747 of them. You understand? So when you choose the location suitability, and then when it gets to location and you select related, only the related locations will show up. So that way, you can choose the appropriate classroom required. Okay. Semester info is there, not necessarily, but it's there because we needed it for some interface purpose. But in any case, just for your information, every time your downstream systems require the semester info, we actually need to send this from TE core out to your downstream. The only thing is actually TT reps doesn't need this information to schedule at all. It's really just information.
Yeah. Here, why the location and the semester info is in a team? Is a team is not teamed. What does this mean? Any difference?
Sorry, I don't understand. What do you mean?
Okay. At the just now the bottom, the right panel, right? You select the semester info, right? I just saw the before you select this one. Also above the semester info is the location. So the location, why it looks is the gray one. It's very. It's a
one by in the gray one.
You see, compare the class group times one x1. The word is like the dim one. You see, what's the difference?
These are not mandatory.
Yeah, something the staff group. Yeah, only this three actually is a very light. You know the phone I think bright is different is location. So
yeah, what I'm telling you is that these fields, these are not mandatory. That means you don't need to choose any of this to actually schedule things.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, you can leave it blank if you don't know.
Oh, okay.
So
the
it's not
rest
required.
Okay, understand.
Okay, clear this part? Okay, so that much is for T core. Next, I think I want to go into viewer. Okay, so that's how typically the timetablers will timetable using the T core interface. Now we talk about the viewer system. So I think you already know in the viewer system, currently there are three main portals. One is the student. So when the student go in, they can only see their timetable and they cannot do selection of any kind. Right. Then next is staff. So let's have a look at staff. So I think this is what you will generally be seeing for you currently right now, since you are not a timetabler. You will see schedule search and you will see subject class membership. I think right now only these two only.
Yes.
So under schedule search right now, there are a few things you can see now. So module, subject class, class group, staff, locations, and student. So when you choose a module, for example, this is basically looking at all the schedules. So I don't know what modules is there. Okay, let's look at this. No schedule. This is for October. Okay. Let's see if there's any schedule. Okay, because this is test environment, so we don't have a lot of data to work with. It's not like live production where we have a lot. But this is just to give you a general overview that when you choose any of these objects, you get to see their schedule. So you can choose to look at a specific module schedule. You can look at specific class. You can look at the class group, for example. I think class group maybe is easier. Let's say B0C. Yeah, correct. So you can see the schedules. All right. So basically, this schedule search means you can only see the timetable lah. So by that thing, you can choose the timetable of these various data object in order to see their availability. Like sometimes you want to see the students one because maybe the timetable or the teacher want to check. You can look at the locations depending on, let's say you want to choose lecture hall, theater one. You want to see which are the days the location is being reserved already, so that you can see where it is not reserved, and then you can then attempt to book it for a class. Then you can also look at the staff teaching schedule, like where is he scheduled for work, right? So and so forth. So when you do all this selection, you also get your history, so that way you can always refer back to the thing. So once you have a schedule, for example, you can see the schedule. So schedule wise, there are a few things you can see. So this is in the text mode. You can, at the bottom right hand side, can you see there's this thing called graphical? When you click on graphical, it switches over to a graphical format. So you know what you're looking at. Okay. So right now, this graphical interface is to do it on a weekly view. So what does it mean, weekly view? So it lets you see Monday to Friday, and then it tells you these lessons, how many times is recurring within the weeks. So for example, this particular class group have counseling psychology in the workplace for 14 weeks, starting from week 1 to week 8, week 12 to week 17. Right. So this, and then these are all the class group that are involved in this specific class. Yeah. So you can see that for this particular class group over the entire semester, Monday for them is always free. I don't know why, but that's how it is. So in case of some, maybe, I don't know, they want to do excursion or party or whatever, they can plan it on a Monday. Yeah. So this is how I do. Then the interesting thing about viewer is that it allows you to subscribe as an iCal to your Google Calendar, your Apple Calendar, any calendaring software that you use lah. Because what it essentially does is it sends the iCal data into your calendar, so you can see all your schedules inside. At the same time, you can also download in a format like follow. You can download it as a PDF, so you can print it out. You can also download it as an iCal file, so you can move it around and import it to whatever calendaring software that you want to use. You can also download into Excel, text form, or CSV form as well. Okay. Yeah. And so basically that's what you will do to manipulate the data, and how you then extract the data that you want to see. Subject class membership is basically essentially more for, I guess, the teaching staff. So like if you select a subject class, let's say this one, and then let's see, show. Okay, there's no data. So what it actually does is that if you select a specific subject class, it will then show you what are the they will show you all the students in that class.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
Okay.
So might be good for attendance taking. If in case the system goes down, then you can generate a report like this. So you know that this specific class that's running, who are the students in it, what's the admission number, which care group they are from. So this is the report lah. Next, we have the administration. This is for the TT rep. So when you go in, you will see a lot more things. So you see all this information, right? Schedule search, start time. For Xiaobing, this is the first time you're seeing this, right?
Yeah, the first time I'm not able to go in.
So this is the first time you're seeing this. So same thing. They also have a schedule search. It's similar, but for the timetablers, TT reps, that we have given them some additional things that they can see. For example, let's say if I were to choose, say, I don't know, a subject class, say B0C. No, B0C is not, it's a class group. Okay, let's choose this. So when I go into a weekly view, it will look like this instead of one lump thing. The reason is because we have added additional things into the schedule, right? By having things like additional notes. So in this specific case, when you look at the note under the reservation, this is something this is a field where we actually update from the choke system. You know what is your choke system, right? It's your booking system.
Yeah, I know that. Yeah.
So we do this through an integration because TP doesn't use time edits resource management system. You all have this external system called choke already. So what we do is we create an interface where we send the reservation from T-call into choke. So the moment the scheduler do some scheduling, right, it will then be replicated to choke through the interface, and we will then send a booking request to choke. But sometimes, because this is not 100% real time at this moment, is that some people may do some manual booking in choke already, and so when time edit system try and book the system, they may have a conflict or they may return an error. So then it will return an error, and then it will be placed inside the note here for that reservation. So that way the TT rep has a way to find out whether their booking is successful or not. Right? Like, for example, a note may say, the schedule cannot be booked because the room has already been booked during this time. So then they have to go and resolve either remove that manual booking or whatever, so that the time edit system can then book the thing in choke. Yeah. So that's why there are this additional information which causes the reservation to look so weird. And because each of these reservation, the information is now unique because it has its own note field. You see? In this case now there is a booking ID. Because this reservation is actually successful. So we get a booking ID return from the choke itself. Yeah.
Okay.
So there are other things like staff time report. So I this one is self-explanatory lah. Since you already have access to the system, you can actually go in and have a look around. So because part of this training is also to give you time to play around with the system, and then maybe the next session what we will then do is I will get the questions from you, what are the things you want to ask, and then we explain, and then next session then I'll talk on how then do we do the admin stuff, like how do we do the setup based on the TPSS work schedule. And of course, after a training session, that's not the end of it all. I think Cheryl already mentioned to you, there will be the OJT part of it. So as we start October, or as we are in the midst of preparing for the October upcoming semester, any tasks that our admin staff will be working on, you will shadow us. So basically, you do together. We will show you the ropes, and then after that, you take over and you do, and then we tell you whether you've done it correctly or not. So that way, you can then quickly pick up the skills necessary to help your organization manage this thing. Okay. So this was staff time report. Okay, general location stuff. So yeah, you can just go in and play around with this. There are a few interesting reports like student fitting report. So basically what this does is that they can search for a specific student, and they can search whether the student is fitted yes or no in order to generate a report to tell you what are the subjects that the student hasn't been fitted for. So the TTS can actually print this out and then, you know, go and do manual adjustment after that. Okay. Other interesting report is like this. For example, we calculate the number of students during lunch hour in the current week. So the system will do the auto calculation, but they just need to click on the specific reports that they want to see. This one maybe this is relevant to you. Okay, so when we now essentially what we do is that viewer is really like, again, just a window into the core database, right? Because what you see when you click on all these things is just trying to ask the system for a specific set of database on your requested parameter. Like you want to see IIT student during lunch hour in the current week, example. You want to see a staff schedule, or you want to see a module schedule for the semester date range that you have input. So essentially all these reports are just giving the database a certain set of parameters so that they return you the data that you want to see. So in the same vibe, you sometimes you need these outbound table reports to check against the data that ITS receive in order to make sure that there is no discrepancy. Like for example, let's say if I select class timetable, for example, it's just giving an example. I don't know whether I have data or not. Doesn't seems to be that I have any data. See. Yeah, I don't have the data right now. So essentially what it means is that, for example, sometimes your class timetable, right? They on a specific field, let's say the beginning time, there needs to be specific data that has to be there. But by downloading a report, you can filter out first to see whether there are any strange data or not before data gets sent out into your downstream. So this is one way they can check on the data, and this is one way you can actually extract data from the core database itself. But generally speaking, this is something that currently wouldn't be used already, because we are doing all the integration right now and we have resolved all the problems. So this was something that we created last time for checking purposes. But I don't think this is something you need for now. We keep it here in just in case. Okay. Yeah, so basically that's about it for viewer. You have any questions so far?
Yeah, so far no lah. I think maybe I need to go in to navigate around to see what the thing.
Yeah. I know it's a bit hard to absorb everything lah. That's why I also don't believe in sitting through 3-4 hours just to go through all this, because you will need time to get used to the system. You got to try things out, then you have a better appreciation and understanding. Otherwise, I tell you, you say, but actually you don't know also, because you haven't played with the system yet, right? You haven't tried it out. So can we just take this time to just make sure that you have received that email reset, so that you can actually log into the Temasek Poly test environment?
Yes,
Are you able to do that?
Yes. I think after the session, or
why don't you try it now, so that I make sure that you are able to go in?
Okay.
Because I don't really have much to talk about, and then maybe the rest of the time, maybe we can talk through making sure that you are able to log into the system, and then after that, for the rest of the day, you can go and test out the system first. Go and try things out. Then in between, you so-called table down all your questions. You can send me via email after that, and then the next session I can then address all your questions at one go. Is that okay?
Okay.
Yeah, okay. I think that would be better. You try first. You try first to make sure you can log into the system.
Okay. I'm resetting the password. Okay. I can log in. I just set the password.
You can log in already.
I can log in already. I log in already.
Okay. Okay, good. So you can play around as what I mentioned. Anyway,
Yeah.
because it's a test environment, it's okay. You can just try things out. No worries. You won't be able to
Yeah.
put anything.
I just view first.
No, you can try things out just to make sure that you have that familiarity and understanding. It's okay because the test environment is not live data. So it's perfectly okay. Yeah. All right. Can you see my screen right now? The fast work schedule?
Yes, I can see.
You have this document, I presume?
I think I can get from the intranet. I think last time we didn't share with me. Let
Yeah.
me.
Wait, so the reason why you need to have this is because you need to understand at which point your role comes into play. Okay. Right now, this is something we are doing, but eventually, I think TP wanted is that you will take over this specific portion of the work. Okay. So basically, if you can see, the semester planning for the October semester starts as early as when the April semester begins. So they will do the data setup for the TT reps, or what they call the TT committee, sometime in early June, right? So they prepare all that. But you can see on the column G, this one, anything that says TPSS admin, this is where your role will come into play already. Okay. So data prep. So this data prep is basically to set up all the views, the calendaring and everything. So the details of setting that up, I will leave it for the next session. The next session will be all about administration already. So I'll tell you how do we set all the views that I've shown you today. Okay. How you set this, and then you can also play around with it. So these are the point where we start preparing the semester data, the environment for the timetablers. Then the timetablers will set up what they call subject class and class group data. Now I will talk a little bit more about this since we're on this topic, what this data is. Because this data will then be sent to edit, that means us, and we have to upload this data into the system. At this juncture, I'm not sure this is something you will be able to do, but it is something we can also teach you to do. It will be a little bit more complex at this moment. That's why we're asking whether you are comfortable with some IT knowledge or not, because I don't know whether you know XML data. Do you know XML data, the format and everything?
Yeah.
Okay, so essentially we need to upload it through a XML data importer function. Okay, we need to send in the class group and subject class data into the system so that T-Core will have those, the class group and the subject class data inside. Because those just now, those data that I've shown you, right, in T-Core, the data must come from somewhere, right? So the class group and subject class data actually comes from the TT committee or the TT reps, okay? And the only way we can send this data in is through a manual upload because there is a lot of data, okay? So maybe I'll take this opportunity now to talk about the files that they have sent us. So I'm going to give you an example of what are these files. So I'm going to use the IIT school as an example, okay? Well, I'm going to open the files and show you. So this is an example of the class group data that the school will submit to us to edit for upload. Can you see my shared screen now? Are you able to see it?
Yes.
So you can see Excel, a lot of things, very complicated. Yeah, so you can see quite a lot of things that they have set up. So you don't need to worry about all these, because these are data formats that are already fixed. So as an administrator, you don't need to do anything. You just need to receive the data, right? And then convert it into the XML format for the upload, and that's it. But of course, the system will be able to tell you whether there are errors or not, because we do some validation checks before the data actually gets sent in. Yeah. So this portion of the process is something I will let you know, we'll discuss and tell you what will be the better way to do this. So essentially, when we upload the data like this, so the class group information, the course version. So you can see, right, the class group naming convention is like this: course version, year, semester, care group, pilot set number. So it's very so essentially what is in column B is a accumulation of column C, D, E, F, G. Yeah, so this was the naming convention we set up with the TTRS, because I told them once they have a common naming convention like this, now, like for example, who have no domain knowledge, it's very easy for you to understand this, right? You look at the class group name, you know that it's because it comprises of the course version, the year and the semester the student is the class group is in, the care group info, and the pilot set number, right?
Yeah.
And then, of course, you have the class group size, program of study, which school it's from, the week ranges, the modules that are associated to this class group. Like I told you, right, this class group is a combination of modules pre-selected by the students. So any student in the class group takes this subject combination, okay? And of course, all the other data fields. Those empty means empty. This one is something we will populate. So this is for class group. Okay, next I show you the subject class data. Any questions so far about the class group data?
I think as a raw 10, all this a question mark. Is it? Doesn't matter, right? Here, right?
Which one? The
Yeah,
question mark on top, you
10.
mean? No,
Yeah.
no. This question mark, this question mark is just a line to kind of show the cutoff. Because we basically, when we load the data, right, we actually need to cut out all these rows.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Yeah, because we obviously are not going to import this header, right? These are all header. We want what we want are the data here, not the one on top.
I understand.
Okay. Next, I'm going to show you the class group data. Sorry, the subject class data. So this is the subject class data. Okay, so basically subject class data is basically all the classes. So all these classes are there, right? And then it will be linked to the class group. Can you see related class group over here?
Yeah.
T. So this is how we know that these classes belongs to the class group, right? So the moment when you go inside T-Core and then you select this class group, all the related subject class for this class group will then show up because of this column. If this column is not populated, then there will be no relation. So you don't know which class is belong to which class group. So this is a very important field. Yeah. But the TTRS already know. So essentially, I'm just tell you what's the content of the files that they are providing us or providing you in this case, and then you have to upload for them so that these are all in the system. Okay. Without these two information, they cannot start scheduling. So this is a very important step in your fast work schedule. On top of that, before they submit these two, the module data from your upstream system, from ITS, needs to be loaded into T-Core first, because T-Core will look for the relationship for these classes to the respective modules. Like for example, this class, subject class GTP 1101, the system will attempt to look for a module GTP 1101 before this upload can happen. If it doesn't, it cannot find the module, then the system will return you an error. So this to tell you that related objects are not complete. So it needs to have that relationship first. Otherwise, the timetabler cannot schedule properly. Okay?
Yeah.
Okay, so this much is clear. Now let me share back the fast work schedule again. So this just now, as I mentioned, this is the point where they set up the subject class and class group data. Okay, once they finish, then we have to upload the subject class and class group data into the system. Now, for the new semester for April 2024, we will still be doing it, but you will shadow us, so you will see exactly how we do it, right? And then eventually it will be something you need to do, okay? And then there are other processes. So this is something maybe you need to understand more from the TTR as well, since you are going to help them with the administration. They will be submitting care person hour activity, blah, blah, blah. So they will know what are the care groups and which students belong to what care group, right? And then from that point on, from 1st July in this case, for this coming semester, which has already passed, the timetabling committee will then check the uploaded data. So at this point, this is where they check the data that you have uploaded, and if they have any errors, they will come back to you. Okay, they will say, hey, this is wrong. Can I give you a new file? Can you help me upload again? Something along those lines. So normally, right, the challenges we face from that is that not that the TTS don't want to stick to their deadline, but because all these course information, right, are always in flux, meaning always subject to change. Like sometimes suddenly they are expecting more enrollment, or someone make a mistake during the creation of the module, or whatever, or for whatever reason, some things happen and changes needs to be made. Even when they so-called by the deadline give you the data to upload, sometimes you will see that some school will keep coming back to you and say, hey, sorry, I got this more change. Can you help me upload again? You know what I mean? So there will be a lot of this kind of thing. So you need to be mindful, because if you keep entertaining this request, then you will never get your job complete. Is what I want to tell you. So the data needs to be complete. Otherwise, this constant uploading and re-uploading can create problems. Because sometimes they may have scheduled something, and then when you upload a brand new one, you may accidentally override certain things, for example. So need to be very mindful, because you're dealing with 6 different schools, not one. So everybody will keep changing their things. So it makes things a bit complicated. Yeah. So once all this is done, they check the configuration, and then the next data they need to prepare is the teaching allocation. Do you know what is the teaching allocation?
No.
Okay, so teaching allocation is a file or data that they have to prepare, basically telling the information is basically telling us this specific teacher can only teach what subject and for how many hours in a week or in a semester.
Okay.
So because that means to say that the specific teacher cannot teach classes outside of its teaching allocation and cannot teach beyond a certain number of hours that the school is paying him or her for. Because sometimes when the timetabler schedule, let's say they schedule this person, they don't know how much hours is allocated. They will just keep scheduling. Then after that, they realize, oh, this person overwork. Instead of 40 hours a week, I given him 60 hours this week. No, that was, which obviously cannot happen. right? So that's why they created this teaching allocation file. Again, this is a file that has to be uploaded into the T core for them to do checking. I will explain more about this when we do the admin setup, because this is one area that we need to talk about. So that will be in the next session. But this is just to give you some background information why this is necessary. Okay.
Okay.
And of course, the system has to interface with EFM for the location data. You know, those location, those room data, those data are not sent in by TTS. Those data are synced with Choke in order to get the locations. And that's how we get all the locations inside the T core for all the TP facilities and location. Okay. So at some point, TTS will submit the TA upload file, and then we have to upload the TA file into the system. So what this does is that when the system receives the TA file, the system will then show a report against the lecturer or the teacher who is teaching how many hours he or she has already taught for the subjects that he or she is allocated for. So you will be able to see whether the teacher is allocated appropriately for its number of hours, or under allocated, or over allocated. When it's over allocated, the system will show a report to say that this teacher has X number of hours overshot, then it will show up in red color. So you know that, oh, this is overshot already. We have to adjust manually, reduce his hours, something like that. Or if he's underutilized, meaning he's supposed to teach 30 hours, but he's only teaching 10. So you got 20 hours to play. You can add 20 more hours, replace him with other people, replace other people with him, because he can teach more time. Yeah. Okay. Then of course, once you upload, timetablers need to check, and then they will change their timetable based on the TA changes. Because, like, for example, you know, either staff are overbooked or underutilized, and then they make changes to the timetable accordingly. And then after that, it's where, okay, this is the part. So submit to TPSS admin for any change to external ID. This is something I also cover tomorrow. Basically, when they submit new subject classes, that means this is the point where they have already given you the class group and subject class files, correct? They have already given you those, and you have finished uploading. Now, as I told you, after the submission, sometimes they may have more changes. That means they manually send in the data into T-Core by manually creating those subject class or class group. This may happen. They will manually create some of these class group and subject class manually from the TE core interface. All right, the TTS will do this. And when they do this, they will need you to change the external ID for them in the system. So what is an external ID? Just now, I think I didn't really touch on this, but let me show you just to give you an idea. 1 second. Let me just show you the screen. Okay, you can see my screen? Can you see my screen now? Can you see my screen?
Yeah.
Okay, so for example, right? Subject class, let's look at one subject class. Can you see this is the external ID? Okay. So they may manually create this entry, but this entry, when they create like this, they are not able to see the external ID. Only the administrator can see the external ID. And normally when the system create the external ID, it will be something like this. It will be a string of numbers, _T _ something like that. So because of the way we do up the student fitting integration, we cannot allow this kind of external ID. So you actually need to change their external ID to something in this format: subject class _ and then the ID into the external ID like this. So you need to manually adjust this for them. Okay, so once you do this, yes, in this format. Don't worry, I'll tell you the exact format and then you follow. So this is the exact format. You click save. So once you save this, then the record is updated already. So for them, they cannot tell the difference, because for them, they cannot see this external ID. They cannot see everything below that. So they won't be able to know until you tell them that you have updated. Then that's fine. So the reason for this is because we use integration effort to do student fitting, and we have to refer to the external ID to do the fitting. And so the naming convention must follow this way, so that the system can recognize the fitting logic. Okay. So they will ask you to change the subject class external ID. They may ask you to change the subject class of the class group external ID. The same thing, you must be class group underscore followed by the name, followed by the ID. Right? So this is the only portion which is what is mentioned in the fast work schedule there. Okay, which is the submit file to TPSS for any change to external ID. This is what this means. Okay. So then this is the part. You update any change to external ID and care group information, and then provide all student related information required for fitting. So at this point, this is when we receive the student data. The student data comes in, and then we will run a automated student fitting in order to make sure that each of these students get their own individualized timetable. Okay. Now, you don't worry, this fitting process is something that our algorithm already have. So what we then need to do is just during this period, we will activate the student fitting run, and that's it. So for you, it's kind of transparent. You just need to be sure that the student data are in, and then make sure the student fitting script runs on time. That's all. Okay. So once this is run, the automated student fitting is done, then you'll be back to the TT reps again. They will then have to check for potential clashes and then manually move the students around for manual fitting. Why do they need manual student fitting? Because sometimes the student didn't get fitted properly into a subject of their selection, or because the student is a laggard student. So they need to create, because the results of the students at some point comes in later. Can you see on the right hand side, there's this thing called student. So when the exam result come in, this is before the timetabling so-called ends. So what the timetablers are already doing the schedule, they're assuming that students will get clear pass. But it means some students might fail, right? So then because they fail, then they cannot continue their original subject combination. They may have to end up dropping one or two subjects, and they have to take up the subjects that they previously failed in the previous semester. So there will be changes, and as a result of that, then why the manual student fitting comes in. The timetablers need to, depending on the students, move the students in and out of other classes. That's why I told you, right, when they have this manual student fitting scheduling mode in TE Core, the timetablers can see which are the classes that they want to attempt to refit the student for laggard subject or elective. Then they move the student around based on the student's availability. Okay. Then we would, I think this is only just for October semester. They will do another fitting run for new students at the beginning of the semester, and this is just for the new students only. So by the end of this, then the final timetable will be completed. Okay. Yeah. And of course, this portion is where we will run the interface to the TP downstream, so that your downstream system will receive information like attendance report, class schedules, and all that your downstream require. All right, so you need to understand the fast work schedule well. If you need a copy of it, and then I guess maybe after going through, you may have some other information, so you might want to check back. Like columns under ITS will be responsibility of ITS . Column under students means things that affects the student. Your concern will be column F and G, which is where the TT committee comes in. And specifically for G is where we do most of the TPSS admin stuff. Okay.
Under school IT committee, all this one is some have the, for example, TP admin. So this one will be, actually it's me lah, will go in to perform the task, right? It's not the school TT reps, is it?
Yes. Column G is you.
Oh, column G is
F
me lah.
So what does it mean? Why full-time causes TT release is because currently in viewer, right? If you see in viewer itself, yeah, I made a mistake. Currently in viewer under student, for example, the way we lock them out is by setting a specific date limit. So we can say the schedule that they can see only starts from 16 October to 14 April. So they obviously, from this calendaring date limit, you can tell, right? They cannot see calendar beyond 14th of April, for example. So there's no way they can see future scheduling, even if the timetabler has already planned it. So during the time when your so-called timetable is to be released to the public or to everybody else, then you have to change the date limits. So that when you change these date limits, then the student or the staff can then see their future timetable. That's what it means. You need to adjust the timing because before the timetable get released, right? Before anything gets confirmed, the timetablers would have already started scheduling. But you don't want any of this information to be leaked or to be shown to the other staff or to the students, correct? So this is where we set the date limit so that the student or the staff cannot see this timetable. You understand now?
Okay. Maybe I just ask a question now. All these so-called these tasks should be complete before the each semester start, is it?
No, you will see that all this has a date, right? So you can only trigger these tasks on those specific date range. You can't do it early because this requires you to set up the release. For example, in this particular case, we can only release timetable on 10 October, 10 a.m. Not before, right? You can't do it before.
Okay.
Because once you trigger it, then people logs in before that will be able to see. So you don't want that to happen. You can only release it after 10 October.
Okay, just asking who come out this so-called the fast work schedule? Is it the ITS or TT reps?
I don't know.
Hello, Sabine. This is to answer this, right? I actually will draft the fast work schedules and we'll discuss to the TT rep on the date.
Oh, so it's you come out this one
Yes. Then I would actually discuss with the TT rep to actually to see their if there's anything that they need to change.
Okay. So for the column J is under ITS actually also us, right? Within it?
Yeah, on us.
Okay. Understand. Okay. Okay.
I think most of the stuff actually is supported by the F point. For example, the interface part will actually supported by the F point. Just to let you know.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So that's the basis of the fast work schedule. If you have more information, I think Wei Ting will be the best person to ask also. Okay.
Yeah.
Any questions so far?
I think roughly I get more information then I need to digest.
Yeah, I know. It's quite a lot You need to slowly go through that. That's why I don't advocate one time because sometimes you also need hands-on, then you get better appreciation, understanding of the system.
Yeah.
Okay. So so basically what I'd like to do is next session what I'm going to cover is the administration part, meaning based on fast work schedule, I will go down the task by task and then so I'll tell okay, for example, this one, okay, this is what we're gonna do. Then this
Okay.
one, this is what we're going to do, for example. All right, so I'm going to run you through for the next session all the administrative things that we are going to do. Okay. And then with the upcoming semester, we will do it first. And then, of course, each time we do the task, I'll get my staff to invite you to that session so that when he or she is doing that job, you can see what is exactly being done. Then you can learn from there. And maybe even have some hands-on try out. For example, let's say we do one record and then you do the others. Okay.
Okay.
So with that, let me confirm. Our next session is when?
Thursday morning.
Thursday morning. Okay. Thursday morning, I may have some slight issue with conflict. Is it okay we do it Friday morning? Do you have Friday morning available?
Friday, maybe we postpone to next week. Friday, I'm not available.
Okay.
Yeah, next week, I think okay, because I think I can use this a few days, then I digest the system plan. Yeah.
Yeah. Actually, that's also my plan. That's why I actually leave a day gap. Because I thought you might need some time to go through everything first.
Can.
So in that case, can you move the Thursday one to the following week?
Yeah. Okay, can.
Following week, you let me know. Okay, can. So
Okay,
so
can.
today I will end off the session. And then you give you some time to go through the system on your own. Play around with it. Then you have any question during this time until the next session, don't hesitate. Just table all your questions, send it to me, and then I will answer it either through email or during the next session when we have this. Okay.
Okay. Thank you. Yeah.
Okay, then that's all. Wish you have a good day, and then I'll see you next week then.
Okay. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye. Thanks.
Edmund,
Bye.
sorry, Edmund,
Yes.
you want to stay a while for the testing for the student fitting job?
Okay, can.
Can Okay, just to clarify, so that means after we I think the data I already provide you in the previous email. So maybe you can get the data from that.
Sorry, what's previous data?
The student test data I actually provided you already before that.
You need to provide me the student data, right? So you were saying
already provided.
Already?
Yes. In the first email that I sent to you, it's already there. You have to refer to the attachment.
Is it called student and subject.zip?
Yes.
But they say be careful with this attachment contain one encrypted attachment that cannot be scanned.
You use the password to open. TPSS 2024.
Alamak. Wait. Sorry. This students, right? The ASC has this problem with care group info.
Yeah, I know.
So does this student already take into consideration that?
I think I actually asked the school to actually make the changes lah. Actually, applied science should have made some changes on that lah.
Sorry, what's the password again?
TPSS 2024.
TPSS 2024. All lower caps. No, I'm presume. Okay, I got the data already. Can.
Okay, so that means you will use this to actually to test your student fitting job.
You say that this is the data, we'll use this.
Okay, after that, you'll be actually loaded to the test environment TE core for the TT rep to actually check for the crashes lah.
Yeah, exactly.
So the test environment will be exactly the same as the production.
Test environment will be exactly the same as production. Environment is we will UAT, and that means we need to. The TTS have already completed. We need to replicate. We need to copy. We need to copy your this production to the test. Then we will load the student data.
If that's the case, I'm okay lah. Since that TT-Reg can actually check for the crashes in the test environment and to verify the student fitting job whether is it done correctly, then there's no concern lah. Okay, but the data should not load to. But please note this data shouldn't be loaded to the production TE core because this is not the final student data. The final student data.
That's why I told you before, right? We won't load any of this into your production. Basically, we actually have a simulated environment in our own edit server where we can do student fitting without even touching the test environment. But we can generate a report from there already. It's
Yes,
just
I
that
know.
for the sake of the TT reps, we have to look into the productions, not product, the test, so that they can see the thing lah.
Okay, I'm okay lah. If you load this to the test lah, for them to see the crashes or whatever. Okay, verification. Yeah, but this data shouldn't be loaded to the production because we will
Yeah,
be
of course,
given you the final subject location after the final, which is around week 20.
We
Check,
won't load this student data because we know this is not final.
Yeah, okay, can. Just to make this clarified to you lah.
Yeah.
Okay,
understood.
can. Okay,
Okay lor.
that's it. Okay,
That's all.
so that's it. So okay, that means we will start to test when all the schools are ready lah.
Yes, when all the schools are ready. Because right now they haven't finished scheduling, so we are not going to replicate the environment. Once they complete, then we will replicate the environment. Then only we will do the student fitting. We will do the mock test.
Okay,
fitting.
can. Okay, noted on that.
Okay.
Okay, can.
All right,
Thanks,
then that's all. Thank you.
Okay, bye.
Okay, bye-bye.
Okay.